afternoon. I'm Alec Burnett with the Fauquier Chamber of Commerce, and I am joined today with Sheriff Jeremy Falls and the Police Chief Mike Kochis with Warrenton. We're here to discuss some of the issues and topics that are relevant surrounding law enforcement and safety and well-being of our residents and our businesses. Just a brief disclaimer. Unfortunately, Chief Prophet from Remington was unable to attend today. But we did want to go ahead and have this event regardless. We'll be reaching out with Chief Prophet another time, but I just wanted to make sure that everyone was aware of that. So we're going to touch on two subjects today. One is there's been a lot of talk, and not more talk, there's been a lot of action, unfortunately, in the media about some of these smash and grabs and some of this, what I just consider to be outrageous behavior. It is what it is. It's law breaking regardless. There's not a severity level necessarily. Now, fortunately, we see a lot of this happening in the more urban areas, highly dense, or more densely populated areas. Doesn't mean that it can't happen here. And so my thinking is, kind of speaking with the two of you who are in the best position to speak to it, what should we be telling our citizens and business owners, and even to an extent our visitors to our fine county, what to be mindful of, what to be aware of, what do they do when they see something, right? We've all heard of the, see something, say something. And we all may know that, that's great, but who do you say it to, and how do I say it, etc. So I just want to take a few minutes, maybe start with you, Sheriff, and get your thoughts and opinions on that to keeping our county residents and businesses safe.
Yeah, one of the things that we have two crime analysts that work at the Sheriff's Office. And what they do is they kind of work closely with the other regional agencies to take any information or data that with trends to crime activity in certain areas. And they kind of put that together for us, and we share that with the town police as well, so that we can be more proactive in our approach to any type of uptick or swings in crime or potential crime in any of our areas. Just one of the things that I think for business owners is to be aware of your surroundings at all the time. If you see anything that's just doesn't seem right or feel right, please call us. You're not bothering us by calling us. You can always reach out to us. If it's an emergency, obviously, we want you to call 911, but you can always call the 540-347-3300, and we'll be more than happy to come out and just try to see if we can't help out to resolve the situation. So.
Great. So the bottom line is it's just awareness, right? I mean, that's really what
Absolutely.
It is. And to your point, if it doesn't smell right, it probably isn't, right?
Correct.
And you're better off reaching out, obviously not 911 emergency call, but you're reaching out to those that are in a better position to assess whether it is a threat or not. So, Mike, from a Warrenton perspective.
Yeah, well, to the sheriff's point. So the crime analyst is a huge help, right? I mean, their crime analysts are great, and the information that they push out obviously makes it to our roll calls. Our officers get it on their MDTs in their cars, and it's just something to look for. But to another point that the sheriff said that I don't think can be overstated is the need for folks to give us a call. I will tell you, all too often, somebody will see something and something will happen, and like, well, I didn't want to bother you guys. Bother us. Right. Like, seriously. That's why we're here, right? Like, it's important. You may not think it's something, right, but typically it is, right? I mean, you may not be able to articulate why the hair on the back of your head's standing up, but give us a call and tell us why. And the other point to business owners, I would give the same advice to them. Sure. But also, and the sheriff and I have talked about this earlier today about video, right? Mm-hmm. So how often do our officers or detectives go do a follow-up from either a burglary or a larceny or something like that, and there's cameras there, and we're like, man, got him. Right. Oh, that camera doesn't work. Yes. Hasn't worked in years. Or, and it doesn't have to happen in your, like, when a burglary or something like that happens, we'll do a video canvas of the area, mm-hmm, because the person may have gone to a 7-Eleven beforehand, right, and buy something. Right. So just because you may not think your business is a target, another business could be, and they may walk by your business or something. So video surveillance is very important.
And a great reminder was maybe a few months ago, right? It was the silent alarm company there in Old Town had on video the incident that happened at Denham and Pearls.
Yep.
Somebody was throwing, it was cornstarch or
Yeah.
something like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah,
that's
and it was
it was a fire extinguisher.
fire extinguishers, yeah. And so here was an event that happened away from obviously where it was recorded, but through
right.
video and obviously help of the businesses were able to apprehend and hopefully prosecute the offender. You touch on cameras and we see them around a lot. So I guess really the advice is if you have it, make sure it works, right?
Make sure it records.
Make sure it
Make sure it
records.
has a tape in it. Make
Yeah.
sure that just because you have it doesn't, and maybe the power's on, just do a test run on it. Are there things that you guys can help with some of the businesses on that? Is that something that I don't know? I mean, just kind of thinking out loud, it would drive awareness to you guys as far as where the cameras are. Right? I didn't realize there was one in this particular business. I don't know if that's something that's feasible or not.
Yeah, so we actually have a registry that we can register camera systems with in our CAD system, so that way we can pull up an overlay. If a crime occurred in a certain area, we can pull up an overlay and it'll show us where everyone has cameras that are registered with us.
Right.
This does not give us access
Okay.
to the information on the camera system,
Okay.
but it does allow us to, when we're canvassing, we know we can go directly to a business or a residence and go, hey, you registered your cameras with us. By chance, can you review your footage with us at this particular time frame to see if we can get any more information to what may have occurred? So, and I can provide you, and I'll make sure I send you a copy of
absolutely.
that. so you
I
can-
wasn't aware of that. And I think that's
Yeah.
something that is somewhat of a no-brainer in the sense of it's why do you have that camera there, right?
Yeah.
You have that camera there to ensure the safety and protection of your body, of your team members, your people, your family, your friends, your inventory, etc. Doesn't do you a lot of good if you're.
And
not
you'd be
taking
surprised how
full
many
advantage.
they don't work.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I can imagine.
Yeah.
I can imagine. You put it up there, it's kind of out of sight, out of mind, and it's unfortunate. When the one time when you do need something like that, you realize, oh shoot, it's out of batteries, or I didn't have the tape on it, or whatever the case is. So.
And the other thing to think about that, you mentioned tapes. We don't use tapes much anymore. But I know, I remember the tapes. I did.
You don't have the
Man, no, no more 8 tracks. But so it's all, in a cloud and stuff like that, right? So it gets rewritten. So make sure if you do have a camera, know how long you're saving that data.
Yeah.
Right? Because we had something recently where they thought they kept it for 30 days, and we might find they only kept it for 14 days, and we had lost that.
Okay.
So
Okay.
it's just something to know.
Okay. And so, are there? It's great we have the kind of register the cameras. Are there best practices or things like that the sheriff's office can, to your point, Mike, on making sure that you do this, do that, not the fact that you have one, but making sure that it's operating.
Yeah, I mean, we have several folks on our staff that are certified in crime prevention,
Okay,
which that certifies them to come out and do basically like an audit of your premise, your business premise, to ensure that you're following best practices with that. Now, we won't recommend any particular company or anything like that, but we would definitely make suggestions. Right. And some of the clear ones that I think that we just need to really highlight is the fact of, try to ensure in your businesses that you don't leave one person in your business alone. I think it's important that you, as best you can, make sure that there's always at least 2 individuals in your business just for that safety aspect. And make sure if you have a back door or rear entrance that it is locked and secured when you're when you're open for business, and obviously when you're closed as well. But you want to be able to kind of funnel everyone into one location, so that you can just make sure you're keeping an eye on the folks that are coming in, and it just gives you a better perspective of what's going on. But we can do that as well. It is a little time consuming, so we can kind of prioritize those as well. So
maybe we can walk to some of the businesses and do
group ones,
group events or something like that. I think that's an excellent idea. I was not aware of that. I think it's great that you have it, but again, awareness is what matters. So we'll get everything up on our website after this, and make sure that we push it out to the residents, the business here in the county, because like you said it, you guys are here for them, right? And you ensure their safety and well-being. So thank you for that. Slight diversion on to another obviously hot topic, and this is. It means something. My wife's a nurse practitioner and works for an organization in Front Royal in addiction medicine. and has been doing so for about 3 years or so. And I applaud what she does, but I'm usually quite amazed by the caseloads that she has on a daily basis, and just assuming that other entities and businesses and resources that serve the same purpose are probably as maxed out as she is. Now, granted, she's in Warren County, but I know as my time on council, we had obviously some issues with heroin at the time, and now this whole fentanyl issue, and I can't turn on the television without seeing a tragic story or reading something that is, again, much like I said with the smash and grabs. It absolutely amazes me that this type of activity is out there. Let's talk about that a bit. I mean, what are you seeing from county-wise? What are we seeing in Warrenton? I know that we had the McShin Foundation. We have some additional resources that are there to help these people. I get it; it's an addiction, but at the same token, too, the innocent should not have to, bear the burden of actions that others have done. But what's your take on where we are with drugs in general and fentanyl specifically?
Well, you made it. You asked a kind of a question about with heroin, and we're not really seeing heroin.
Yeah.
We're seeing fentanyl, right? Yeah. So think about this for a minute. A kilo of heroin is about $80,000 to $82,000 for a kilo of heroin. You can get a kilo of fentanyl off the dark web for $1,200, and fentanyl is 10 times stronger than heroin. So if you think about where your profit margin is, right, it's with the fentanyl. And that's why when you think about who's creating this stuff and where it's coming from, the cartels or the drug trafficking organizations, it's all about the money for them.
Absolutely.
If they can make that money selling T-shirts, they're going to do T-shirts, right? Okay, but they know they're making it with fentanyl. So that's what we're seeing, and we're seeing a lot of it. Now here in town, the big thing we're seeing is PCP. Okay.
Really?
Yeah.
The angel dust,
yep.
right?
Typically they're dippers, where they dip cigarettes in a liquid.
Okay.
And so I'm going to get. But the challenge with it, going back to the fentanyl conversation, is they're starting to mix fentanyl in PCP.
Oh.
They're starting to mix fentanyl in everything. Okay. I was just at a meeting where we were briefed by the DEA, and they're seeing fentanyl in crack cocaine. They're seeing fentanyl in cocaine. They've even seen it in marijuana. Okay, so it's a real problem. Their report just about an hour ago was about 150,000 deaths in this country over the last year from fentanyl-related deaths. So it's a real problem, and I don't think it's going away anytime soon. If you really think about the numbers as well, right? To get a true count of how bad this is, it's very difficult, because naloxone or Narcan is so readily available, right? So folks can get that and bring it home. So there's folks who are overdosing, but they're giving it to themselves and saving their own lives, so that's good. But so I don't think we even know how bad this really is, but it's bad.
And from a county perspective, I mean, clearly Warrenton County seat, I think we're going to, maybe not. Maybe that's not where the concentration of that is. I mean, the stuff's coming from somewhere, right? Is it being manufactured here in the county? Is it being trafficked here through the county at different points? Are we seeing the same type of issues in Warrenton and in Buellton or Marshall or Remington or Gold Vein, Summerduck? I mean, anywhere from a county perspective, or is it isolated? I have a feeling I know the answer, and it's the one I don't want to believe, but I have a feeling I know it. So, but I'll let you confirm.
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously in our more heavily populated areas. But the thing that we just got to remember, and I think and I'm not going to speak for the town, but we're seeing a decrease in reported overdoses, which to me is alarming because it's not going away.
Right.
And I think what we're seeing is that the availability of Narcan, over-the-counter Narcan, is limiting the number of calls for service that we receive or for our EMS folks to address the situation. So I think that's kind of what we're seeing here, and it does bother me a little bit because I do think we're going to see a spike somewhere somehow soon regarding fentanyl, and I just don't know when it's going to hit. Just recently, I believe in the metropolitan area, that they've had several overdoses related specifically to fentanyl and cocaine, I believe. So it's just a matter of when and where, and we're going to get those calls again, but and I got to give Chief Kochis a lot of a shout out for this. He's the vice chair of our narcotics and gang task force right now, and he brings a tremendous amount of experience to the subject, to the group. So it's we just had a meeting today, and it was just having a roundtable discussion about these types of issues on a routine basis. And it's affecting our country as a whole.
Yeah. That's a good point. I mean, your experiences in Alexandria. Now, granted, well, it wasn't really that long ago. What you was
2 years, but it seems long, doesn't it?
Delighted to have you here, Chief. So you probably, I hadn't really thought about that. That's a good point. You probably saw, either a different or maybe a more elevated, more scaled version of what we're seeing here as you move farther away from the metropolitan areas, but maybe not.
There's no community that's immune from this, and there's no social economic class that's immune from it either. So yes, we had a high volume of it in Alexandria because a lot of the distribution points come from either DC, Baltimore. That's where we're going to see a lot of them, and so they, it's close. Alexandria's closer, but like the sheriff said, I think out here a lot of it's unreported. Yeah. I'll be honest with you. Look, no community is immune from this. No socioeconomic class is immune from this. Right. So what we saw in Alexandria, so when, there were folks who had been using heroin for 15, 20 years, older folks, right? In our community. And then this fentanyl hit the street and they thought they could handle this. And they were it was bad. And it's going to get worse. And so.
I can't imagine, unfortunately, these kind of things that keep me up at night sometimes as a father, as a human, frankly. We thought that heroin was, the worst thing ever. Now comes fentanyl, and so you're saying to yourself, you have to think, gosh, what's next?
What's next?
And some of these stories, and with the amounts, you brought this up earlier, it doesn't take much to affect a lot, and it's just scary because you're going to have people out there, despite the fact of, doing illegal drugs, they're going to be of the mindset, well, more is better, right? And
no, it's not.
No,
it's a granule. We'll put you down, and let's talk about the risk to our officers when dealing with this stuff, right? Yep. There's been officers who have fallen out from just packaging it and weighing it and stuff like that. So we've had to take extra precautions for that as well.
Now Narcan, so obviously is more associated obviously with the heroin, but fentanyl being an opioid, Narcan is the same thing, right?
Narcan's
does the same thing.
So Narcan's the brand name.
Right.
What it is naloxone, right?
Gotcha.
So it reverses the effects of an opiate. That's all it does. So if you were to take Narcan or naloxone right now, you'd be fine. Yeah. Wouldn't do anything to you. Right. You have no effect unless you were suffering from the effects of an opiate overdose.
Right.
So.
And I remember on council as well, I remember the Narcan units, whatever they're called, I remember the unit costs themselves were quite high. And I believe
we get them for free now.
Yeah, but there was also some fallout with Narcan. The company was overcharging, etc. But the point is that once the availability or the price goes down, the availability comes more because there's no knockoffs necessarily. I wouldn't imagine. And so I think, Jeremy, you're right in the sense that just because it's not happening, don't look at that as necessarily being an indicator of good things. It's just
it's happening.
It's just a different shade of the same color, right? It is happening. It's a horrible condition of our society overall. I understand. I mean, drugs, are always going to be around, but everybody's just trying to make a little more money, and they don't really care who they're affecting. And I just, those that die, I mean, you don't want to see any of that, but the surviving family members and spouses and children, it's a horrible scenario. And equally, it doesn't really, it doesn't know how much you get paid or what zip code you live in.
It doesn't care.
It just doesn't care. And if somebody wants it badly enough, they're going to get it. Well, it's kind of a sour note to end on, but it's a relevant one in the sense that we are fortunate here in Fauquier County to live where we live. It's certainly we're insulated from a lot of the other issues that other larger areas and even maybe equally populated areas have. But that's not by chance, right? That's by good, strategic, proactive thinking, and on behalf of you and your officers and all the other public service folks, fire department as well, EMS, just countless others. We would not be what we are if it weren't for your service, and we greatly appreciate that. Really, it's
Thank you.
It needs to be celebrated, and law enforcement is the baseline of civil society, in my opinion, and you guys are exemplary examples of that. So I appreciate that. Any final comments before we wrap up here that you want to mention? I know you have tonight. We have you're going to be up at Buchanan Hall up in Upperville with the town hall. This is just a conversation with citizens?
It's just an open conversation with the community and what's going on in their area, seeing what else we can do to help them or provide more information to the citizens in that area.
Right.
We typically do these about every quarter
Okay.
in the sheriff's office, and we kind of bounce around different areas of the county, being spread out as we are.
Right.
600 miles.
Yeah.
So,
pretty spread out, yeah.
So we got to get around a little bit.
Right.
So we'll be in Buchanan Hall tonight
Okay,
from 6:30 to 7:30. We try to keep it right around an hour.
Okay.
Make sure everyone's time is very valuable for that. So.
Absolutely. Well, I look forward to getting the information from you as well, in addition to that on some of the other things we talked about as far as registering the cameras and the phone numbers and how to contact, et cetera. And I guess I'm going to see you later this afternoon, right?
What's this afternoon?
I just thought about it. We didn't think about it when we first started. The sex trafficking.
The FASTA.
FASTA.
Steering committee.
Steering committee meeting, right?
I think you're going to see the sheriff.
Oh, you're going to be there as well? Great. So.
I probably won't be there.
Okay.
Yeah, 'cause you got to get to Upperville.
That's right. You got to ride, Eddie.
But I know that.
Yes, actually, it's in a little bit.
Yeah, 3:30. The Rotary Club and Bill Wolf and countless others, obviously, are bringing this to the attention of the public, which is well, it's as scary as anything else. It's just for those of you that are interested in FASTA, which is the
Fauquier Anti-Human Trafficking Coalition. Sex Trafficking Coalition. There you go. I guess close, right?
You're close.
Close.
You're very close.
Yeah,
So
Oh,
a
it's
good group of leaders. We got everybody from law enforcement. We got DEA. We got state police. We've got civic leaders. We've got church leaders. We've got schools. We've got a lot of participants on the steering committee that the Rotary Club of Warrenton has put together, and this is, I think, our 4th or 5th meeting now, and really that's all about driving awareness, what to look for, and because we know we have that situation going on here, and unfortunately I'm sure that there's some parallels with fentanyl and heroin and everything else that goes along with it. So I look forward to continuing to participate in that, and thank you guys for what you do. But
thank you for what you do for your business community. It's an important community.
Yeah, appreciate that. Business. I've
it's the lifeblood of this town.
It is. It's we live under a number of different mantras, and one is better business makes for better community. And we're the business owners, we're residents, we shop in other people's stores, where our kids go to the same school, we see each other in church, we see each other on the street. And so business is not only important to our economy, but it's the truest identifier of a community, in my opinion, that you can find. And we're seeing some really good things for our small business community here in the county. We've got some new openings. I was down in Remington at the Craft Pizza a couple weeks ago. Knocked it out of the park.
Is it like Jersey pizza though? Is it as good as Jersey pizza? I'm kind of a pizza snob, man. We'll have to talk about that.
It was really good.
All right.
It was really good. And then we've got some new businesses opening up here in town. We've got a ribbon cutting coming up on the 21st. We have Planet Fitness here in town. We had ribbon cutting at Costello's, which will always be Rankins to me, last week. So it's nice to see businesses are coming out of the pandemic, not only those businesses that were already established, but seeing new businesses coming in as well.
That's great.
Glory Days is opening up, which I'm thrilled about. It's going to be my daughter's first job. So,
Nice.
Yes. So she's very excited about that. And we'll just we keep doing what we do as business people and as law enforcement and service to the public, and keep our fingers crossed and hope all is well and stay aware of everything. So thank you for joining us again. Any questions? You can direct them to 347 3300 and
347-1101.
1101. So 1101 and 3300, and then I don't know the Remington off the top of my head, but like I said, we'll get Chief Prophet involved in this. But thank you again for joining us today. And when you see these guys and their officers out on the street, just give them a thanks, give them a handshake, give them a thanks, because they do more for us than we probably all realize. So, gentlemen, appreciate it.
Thank you. I
All right,
appreciate it,
guys.
man. Yep.
All right.